about viewer game analysis? And I got a specific request from a viewer who has been studying my Alekhine defense course only on Chessable. Alekhine's Defense, The Dark Knight Rises. I just love saying the name, rolls right off the tongue. And he wanted me to go through a game and try to hit on some ideas because he's been hurting in the exchange variation. But I got to say, he followed the line pretty close to what's in the text. He had the general structure down, and it may not be the opening in this case. So let's take a look at some of these middle game ideas stemming from the opening and see if I can't help our viewer out. And keep in mind, if you'd like to submit a game for analysis, shoot me an email. I promise you, I will eventually get to it, and you can find my information below. Click the link and whatnot. So, e4, knight f6, and we're going to get to, I would say the exchange is the most popular response, close to the classical. I mean, 60 to 70% of my games are either the exchange or classical. So you really need to have these down and be comfortable with them. There are many sidelines in the Alekhine, but none of which pose any significant threat. The 4 pawns attack is theoretically most dangerous, but not a lot of players play it because it requires so much work for white, and they face it so rarely that, yeah, don't worry too much about it. So e takes d6, and our viewer plays e takes d6 like Grandmaster Bortnik, the star and highest rated player in the world who plays the Alekhine on a regular basis. I have a personal preference for c takes d6, and we get these types of lines that we've seen time and again on the channel, and I've done pretty well in practice with these variations. This is the main theoretical position where I recommended bishop f5 in the text. So that is always an alternative that you can check out, but again, it's more work. E takes d6 is a bit more natural. We get c4, knight b6, knight f3. Hey, why not pin the knight? Seems natural enough. Keep tension, very good. b3, knight c6, and notice we're beginning to put pressure on d4. Bishop e2, bishop e7, castle, castle, bishop b2, and I think you're right on the money with the next move. We've got the pressure. He's taken some off, so we add it back on. So you're going through the motions really well here, but after knight c3, alarm bells should go off because he has now blocked the defense of this pawn. So my prescription is go through that tactics chapter in my Alekhine course. It's where there's definitely some problems like this, as I'm visualizing off the top of my head here. But we missed a key moment in the game. You have the ability to play bishop takes f3, grab in the center with d4, and pawn in hand with an imbalance, knight versus bishop. The bishop is a bit better in the open position, but I would take black 100% of the time here, as f6 should be able to sort out any issues you're having on the long diagonal. Then you look to press in the long term. So coming back, you played rook e8, nothing wrong with that. d5, and notice your opponent takes away that distinct possibility. And here we're going to get a relatively balanced position quite quickly. And another one of the recommendations that I make is you get used to playing equal positions and you enjoy them, because chess is littered with equality, and the more prepared players are getting, the harder it is to get an opening advantage. So you got to beat them from positions like this. And I got to say, if I had this position with black against anyone sub 2100, I would be very, very confident that I'm going to win, because I don't feel that there's really significant chances to lose this. but higher rated players outplay me for a reason. Your opponent plays f4, and this is a critical moment in the game because you have a decision to make with the rook. And it seems natural to extend the rook and play rook e3 as was played in the game. But I'm going to show you a general line that I worked out with my machine friend. And we both like rook e8 a bit better, solid, and it's wait and see. White played this f4 move, which could be an unnecessary extension. We'll find out. Knight g3. Potential aggressive ideas with the knight eyeing these squares. So we come back around knight d7. And I don't want to have to worry about my king side, so I offer to trade. Would you like to trade more? Oh, he's all about this trading business. And right here, most players are like, okay, yeah, this is steering towards a draw. So if you're a pause your video and come up with a plan type of person, this is the moment. And there is a lot of this type of game analysis and point-by-point freezing and thinking in video course I recorded on Chessable, Mastering Chess Middle Games by Grandmaster Panchenko. So take your time. This is roughly I would say pause, take about 2 minutes, 3 minutes maybe, and come up with a plan for black. Now, you can check this position with the engine. The engine will go, oh yeah, it's equal. But you need to know how to try to create imbalances. And the thing that sticks out to me is white has more space. He has a chain, so we got to break that chain. b5, exclam, because if he captures, he loses the d5 pawn. If he doesn't capture, he offers a trade. We're going to find an entry point into the position, and after knight e4, we've got our entry point for the price of a double pawn. And though this is still roughly equal, there is room to outplay the opponent here. And again, practice endgames because it's comfort. If you're going to be playing the e takes d6 variation, you got to be comfortable in solid positions like exchange Frenches and say Russian game, the Petrov. You get this pawn structure a lot in those. So keep that in mind. Missed opportunity, rook e8, lengthy line, but I wanted to emphasize the say late middle game / end game concepts and how to play these types of positions. So rook e3 was played, and this in and of itself isn't that bad until we reach this point, because the rook is now starting to get a little off balance on the e3 square, and you got to start worrying about these type of tactical things like the rook gets cut off. So after rook e1, knight d7, your opponent finds it. And here we need to play very accurately. According to the engine, we got to try rook e4. And this is not the end of the world, losing a pawn versus losing the exchange. At least we got activity. But you play rook takes. And objectively, here is another thing that I would argue with. When you're up material, you trade down. When you're down material, you refuse to make trades to try to stay in the game. So I would say objectively, this move, rook takes e6, makes your opponent's life easier because he can just continue to force more trades. Much stronger is to make the attempt with taking with the f-pawn because you keep tension in the position. You got more chances to outplay the opponent. I believe this was a blitz game, so fighter, puncher's always got a chance in fast time control. So keep tension and focus on working the clock. So now it's getting easier. Rook e1, can't take the f-pawn due to back rank stuff. And this is a lost cause at this point. We'll go through a few more moves as it's instructive. Good, don't trade. Knight d4. And there's some chances. Check. You gotta keep trying until you can't try anymore. And we're at that point as there's no way to hold the pawns on the queen side. And a valiant effort, but white ended up winning the game. So hopefully this has been a little bit instructive for our viewer who sent in the game. My suggestion for you, it's not so much the opening you need to study more deeply. I would work on tactics and tactical combinations, and that's why I added in that bonus chapter in my Alekhine course. I want to say it's roughly 150 to 200 tactics. Go through those a few times because they're pulled directly from Alekhine positions. And I think that's one of the greatest misnomers when it comes to tactical study. Most people sit down and use Puzzle Rush or Puzzle Battle or whatever, Lichess and Chess.com's puzzles. But aside from the most elementary themes you get, when you start getting to more advanced problems, they're all stemming from specific openings. So why do you need those tactical patterns learned if you're only playing certain openings yourself? You don't. It may help with creativity, but you much rather be studying tactics from your own openings because it's middle game positions you get, and you're going to be more familiar with them. So I consider that to be an extension of studying of the opening is tactics from your openings. So that would be my suggestion. Go in, and you can also create a database yourself by going through your own games and pulling it. Chessable even has a wonderful new feature on the site where you can put in your account name from Lichess, and it will pull tactics that you missed from your own games. So definitely look into studying that. And also we touched on some in-game concepts there. Got to study up on your in-game. That's everybody on the planet. Hopefully this has been instructive for you. Check out the Alekhine defense on Chessable if you're interested in more.